Hi there, and welcome to the Salted Pepper, where we cook for real life using real food and we keep it real simple. And today I am going to make a grilled cheese sandwich in the Ninja Foodi digital air fry oven. And I'm going to make a grilled cheese that's a little bit different from maybe what you're used to. The combination of ingredients that I'm going to use is some leftover ham slices, some brie, butter, of course, and also a blueberry barbecue sauce that I made in the Ninja Foodi Hot Cold Blender. And I will link to that recipe right up there so that you can make some. It is absolutely delicious on ham. It's wonderful on chicken, and it goes really well also with brisket. So give it a try. It's super easy to make. All right, so a grilled cheese sandwich, it seems simple enough, right? So you coat your bread with some butter, you put your cheese choices or meat choices, whatever you're gonna make your grilled cheese with, and then you usually fry it in a frying pan. But most people do it wrong. They have the heat up too high on the frying pan and they cook the outside of the bread, it's toasted, but the cheese isn't really melted, and if you're using meat, it isn't warmed through. And getting it right can take a little bit of practice, honestly. You want a low, steady heat, and a good grilled cheese takes at least 20 to 25 minutes to make. And if you've tried to do it on the stove, making it one at a time is pretty much all you can do. Even if you have a big enough skillet, it's still kind of a pain to try to flip two different sandwiches in one skillet. With the Ninja Foodi air fry oven though, you can use the tray that comes with the oven, and you could make 4, 5, 6 sandwiches at a time. So this is gonna really make making grilled cheese for a group super easy. Now I'm only making one sandwich today, which I really wanted to make more than that, honestly, but I don't have any more pumpernickel bread. And so I can only make one, but I know you can do more because I have done more sandwiches at one time and the timing is exactly the same. So I'm using pumpernickel for this because it pairs really nicely with the other ingredients, but you could also use a rye bread. That would be fine, it would be delicious. Or you could use a white bread, that would be fine too. All right, so the first thing we need to do is assemble our sandwich. There's no preheating necessary with the digital air fry oven, so we don't need to worry about that. So what I'm gonna do is take some butter. This is about a tablespoon of butter. And what I did, it's room temperature, but it wasn't really spreadable because it was a little cold in my kitchen and it was on the harder side. If you go to spread butter onto your bread for making grilled cheese and it's not spreadable, what happens is it just kind of digs into the bread. It doesn't work out real well. So to just soften your butter more, just take a butter knife, or what I'm using here, and just sort of mash it around, stir it around. That's gonna soften it up and get it to a better spreadable consistency. Now, the other thing about grilled cheese is more butter is not better. I very seldom say that, but it is the truth with making a grilled cheese. If you put too much butter on the outside of your bread slice, it's not gonna toast up as well. It's gonna become real buttery and it'll be delicious, but it will not toast up as well. So the perfect amount of butter, in my opinion, is about a teaspoon per side. And I just put on a thin layer. I don't measure or anything like that. I just put a thin layer over the bread. You want it coated every bit of the way. And if there's excess, I don't just leave it on there. So very thin coating on your slice of bread. And then these are kind of strangely shaped pumpernickel, honestly. It's real short, so yours will probably be a little bit bigger than this one. And then I always like to match up the bread to make sure that I'm buttering the right side so that they make a nice sandwich. Now, this is not necessary. It's kind of just my thing. So I'm gonna butter this side. All right, from edge to edge, it is buttered. We used about 2 teaspoons. All right, so now for the brie. Now, I know some people do eat the rind of the brie. I don't usually, especially when I'm gonna put it on a sandwich, so I'm gonna cut that off. This is just a wheel of brie that I had, and I just cut off 3 ounces. So I'm gonna use 3 ounces of cheese on my sandwich, and I might not even use that much. If I find that it's too much, then I won't use it. I won't use this much. So I'm just gonna cut off the rind here. Trying not to get too much of the cheese. I don't want to waste the cheese there. All right, that looks good. And cut off the end here. And of course, if you were gonna do a Swiss, because that would be really, really nice too, just buy the Swiss cheese slices. That'll be so much easier for you. But I even think this barbecue sauce, in fact, I'm sure the barbecue sauce will go absolutely wonderfully with a slice of Swiss. That sounds really good. But I had this Brie I needed to use up. And so I wanted to use it in the sandwich, and Jeff and I had it one day, and we fell in love with it. So I had to share it with you. A lot of my recipes happen that way, you know? It's funny, I'll make something up on the fly, and it'll be so good. Jeff will say to me, this has to be a recipe. I'm like, okay. So then I test it, and I get it ready for you. All right, I'm just gonna set those over here. Now to slice the Brie, since it's not sliced, obviously, you could slice it this way if you wanted, but I'm gonna go ahead and just try to take a couple of slices this long way. If I can get 3 slices, and it's very soft, obviously. There. And now I can lay them on my sandwich. And for this recipe, I'm gonna do things just a tiny bit differently than I would ordinarily do. Ordinarily, when I'm making a grilled cheese sandwich, I will put a slice of cheese, and then if I'm adding meat, I'll put the slice of meat and then another slice of cheese, so that the cheese is on this side of the bread and it melts really nicely. But because the Brie is a soft melting cheese, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna put the ham slices on first. And I'm just gonna probably trim these up just a little bit. Just so that they can go on the sandwich a little bit easier, since my bread is kind of on the small side. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is put on our barbecue sauce. Now there's no easy way to do this, but I just set it down on the cutting board. The cutting board's clean, you know, it's hard to hold in your hand. And I'm gonna put my barbecue sauce. This is a blueberry barbecue sauce that's made with frozen blueberries, so you can make it any time of the year. And it really is delicious. It's not super sweet. It's not super spicy either. So, but you can spice it up, obviously. And I'm using about, I would say, a teaspoon on each side. I think that's gonna give a good amount. Oh, that's perfect. I don't even need these little pieces. So that looks good. All right, let's do the other side here. So about a teaspoon probably of the barbecue sauce is enough. You don't want to saturate the bread too much. As a matter of fact, usually when I'm making something like a Reuben sandwich, which they're one of my favorites, I don't put the Thousand Island sauce on the bread at all. I put it on the inside so it does not absorb into the bread. And I could have done that here. I could have put it on top of the ham. And if it comes out where it's not crunchy enough and I think that the barbecue sauce was the culprit, I will let you know when I taste it. All right, let's get our 3 ounces of cheese on here. Oh my gosh, this looks so good. And then flip the sandwich over. All right, so there's gonna be a little bit of butter on the cutting board. No big deal. All right, so the Ninja Foodi oven comes with this tray, and so we're gonna use this. Instead of putting it directly on the rack, we're gonna use the tray. The tray heats up and it does crisp from the underside, so we will get crisping from both the top and the bottom, but we will flip midway through cooking. And there is no exact time for this. I use my judgment. It takes about 10 to 12 minutes, but I just do it until the bread is crunchy. So there's not a certain time frame. And I'm gonna put this right in the center. Now, of course, if you were making multiple sandwiches, you would put them evenly spread out on the tray. The reason being is that this tray will tend to buckle under heat. I don't think we're going up to a high enough heat to have that happen, but it might. Don't worry about it. It will be fine. It will go back to its normal shape. It just happens with a lot of different trays. When you put them in the oven at high heat, they sort of curl up a little bit. But the first time it happens to you, it's a little shocking, I'll tell you. All right, so let's get this closed in here. Again, no need to preheat. This preheats in about a minute. Turn it on. We're gonna keep it on air fry, and we wanna take the temperature up to 375. That I found is a good temperature for crisping the outside of the bread, but not doing it too fast. If you turn it up hotter, it's gonna crisp up too much and then your cheese is not gonna be fully melted. And we'll just keep it at the 15 minutes, that sounds fine. And then just push this little button in and that will start the oven. And it will say PRE, that flashes, that means it's preheating. In about 60 seconds, it'll be preheated. You'll hear a fan come on and we'll start the air crisp. All right, so it's been just about 5 minutes and I can actually start to smell this already. So let's go ahead and give it a peek. It's probably time to flip. Oh yes, it's time to flip. Now, you don't have to do this, but because of where it is in relation to me, I'm gonna pull it over here to flip, just because otherwise I know I'm gonna burn myself or have the sandwich fall apart. Because flipping is the big thing, right? So I'm just gonna get under here and flip it over. No! It happens. Don't worry about it. There we go. Happens to everybody. It happened to me, and I knew it was going to happen over there, but anyway, that's fine. Now let me just line this back up just a little bit more here so I can get our sandwich so it's still gonna be perfect when it comes out. It looks amazing. I don't mind that, but if you do, you can always take that off at the end. It looks so good. Okay, so we've got crunch on this side, but the other side was not as crunchy. That is fine because we flipped it. Now it will get crunchy on the other side. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this tray back in, and I'm probably gonna have to set a little bit more time. Let me move it back over to the middle here. Just because I let it run with it open, I should have closed it up. But anyway, I'll set a little more time. We're gonna go another 5 minutes and then our sandwich will be done. So that means that a 20-minute grilled cheese now takes 10 minutes in the air fry oven, and you can do a lot of them at once. All right, let's go to the time. Actually, let's just take it down to 5 minutes. There we go, perfect. All right, so it is sizzling in there, and I can look in. There's a light here you can look in and see, and I can see that the brie is completely melting, and I don't want it to melt all out of the sandwich. So guess what? I think we just make grilled cheese in 8 minutes because I'm gonna stop this and get the tray out. Yep. Oh my gosh. Wow, that looks good. Wow. Crunchy. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. All right, so I'm gonna loosen it up. Should I try that flip again? Let's try it. So what I normally do when I get it right is I just put my hand here and flip. There, it's a little bit easier when it's already done, but all right. Now these pieces of cheese are gonna be hot. Oh my goodness. Wow. You know what else you can do with this? And I'll find out the exact times and temperatures and share it in a future recipe, but my husband Jeff did this the other day. He just put some cheese down and like, I don't even know what he set it on, but anyway, in like 3 seconds, it seemed, he had these perfect cheese things to do a wrap with. I thought this is gonna be perfect. We're gonna do that. For those of you that are low carb or keto, this will be a great way. I mean, you could do it, put anything inside, and they were wonderful. So I'll have to get into doing that recipe soon. All right, it looks good. I'm gonna move this out of the way here. Put this down. And let's go ahead and cut it. I probably didn't let it cool enough. I probably should let it cool a little bit more, but I'm impatient. Now, I don't mind leaving these on at all, but I'm just gonna peel them off for you guys so you can see how easy, in case you didn't wanna serve your grilled cheese that way, you could just peel them off. It looks amazing. Look at that cheese, yay. Brie is such a soft melting cheese. If you didn't use Brie, if you use something else like a Swiss, it wouldn't be pouring all out. But I don't mind. All right, let's go down here. One quick thing. Oh, look at that. It's gorgeous. Now you can't see the cheese in here because it kind of went to the side a little bit too much, but I can see the blueberry sauce. I can see the ham. And of course I see the cheese all on the outside. It looks beautiful. Alrighty. I do need to let it kind of cool off just a minute. I don't want to burn myself. There we go. We can stick it right back in. All right, it looks like it's cooled enough, so let me take a bite. Both sides are crunchy. The cheese is super melty. 8 minutes. That's amazing. I am really happy. All right, let's give it a taste. This is so good. It's unusual, I know, but it is so good that I hope the adventurous eaters out there will give this combination a try because it is superb. Everything about it is perfect. I love it. But if you don't want to eat brie and ham and blueberry glaze, you don't have to. Put anything you want on your grilled cheese. Use any kind of toast you want. You're gonna still go the 375. You'll have to adjust your time accordingly. If the toast is thicker, you might need to go a little longer. But 375 on air fry is a perfect temperature to make your grilled cheese. Line them up and you can make 5, 6, 7 grilled cheese, maybe 8, maybe 9. I think it says it fits 9 pieces of toast, but I think that would probably crowd the pan just a little bit. But definitely give this a try, and your next grilled cheese is gonna be super easy and super delicious.